Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meta Monday Analysis with me going live from the mini wargaming bunker where I've been hunkered down for the better part of, the better part of a while. Yeah, as in this entire week. Why? Because I am here filming a really, really fun Crusade with Dave from Mini Wargaming. And the last time we went live was Saturday, where we had a 4.5-hour mega stream talking about the new Drukari codex release. Well, this whole week, I'm going to play with that codex, and it is absolutely fantastic. Now, I decided to take this video public. This is normally a video I do exclusively for Patreons every Monday. However, my schedule got a little messed up because it's been a crazy week. So I decided to broadcast it for everyone to watch, and I hope you enjoy it. Other than that, there's going to be a live. It is live, so you can literally ask me some questions and all that good stuff as well. We've got the live chat going on right now, and if you are watching, awesome. Hope I know it's a little dark in here, so I do apologize about that. It's mostly the fact that I'm literally in my bunker hotel room, which is essentially like a bunker. I'm in the barracks. There's like 4 bunk beds in here, which is pretty cool. And I've been playing some Crusade stuff. So what do I have on store for this video today? I'm going to talk a little bit about an event that happened this weekend, which is the Tent and Mountains or something like that, where Nick Nanavati took it to the top using a Sisters of Battle army. Congratulations, captain of the Art of War team, which is really exciting. And then we're going to talk, I answer the Patreon questions that have been asked. Of course, if you want your questions answered, you can always become a Patreon, support the channel, join the Denizen community, get access to the Discord and all the extra content that I do. Like every day, I've been posting all the pictures and like a breakdown of my day's games in Mini Wargaming, and people get to see them, see the pictures, and like see all that good stuff. But other than that, it's exciting. Hello, Will. Good morning. Love the room. I know, it's pretty cool, right? This room is definitely the coolest thing so far about this. Why is this not? Yeah, live chat. Perfect. I love it. Just checking it all out. Just making it all happen here. Okay, so let's go. First, we're going to go into the questions, the Patreon questions. And then we're going to go into live questions at the end of the video for anybody watching here as well. Now, this week has been really cool because Tanya, the War Mistress, has taken over Just Put Paint on It. And she got 4 really awesome guests booked to on her Twitch page. Basically, she co-hosts Just Put Paint on It with me and Matt, and we have great guests on Twitch every single day, Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And because I'm at Mini Wargaming this entire week, she was like, can I, I was like, you should take over and kind of do it. And so she did, and it's amazing, and I love it. And it's really, really cool. Hello, Joseph. Hello, Tarzan. Good morning. Good morning. Is it Monday? No. As you can tell, the video says Meta Monday on a Wednesday. Why? Because I am very creative when it comes to that sort of thing. Yeah, let me do something like this. There we go. I think this will be better. It gives me a chance to kind of sit back and relax. I'm very comfortable right now, as you could tell. I've been drinking lots of water. It's funny how much you talk when you're filming. And it's literally been like non-stop filming, which has been great. And the new Crusade rules for Drukari are hilarious. So there's a mechanic called where you build a territory in Comra. So Archon Skari for this campaign has 2 goals. 1, he wants to build up his territory. And 2, he wants to become a master Archon. So right now he's an ascendant lord. He's not a master yet. He's building his way up. And at the end of every game, you can roll, and a 4+, you get a raid point, basically. If you win, you get an extra raid point included. So I got a raid point, and then I spent it on getting a territory. And you roll on this giant chart. There's like 122 territories. And but if you gain a territory, then after you gain it, you roll a dice. And on the roll of a 1, the Archon or your Ascendant Lord, which could be an Archon, a Succubus, or Homunculus, can literally has an assassination attempt against them, and they gain a battle scar. So if you know anything about Crusade, that kind of makes sense. So lo and behold, first territory Archon Skari ever gets, rolls a 1, instant battle scar. So somebody tried to assassinate him as he was getting like power and fame in the Dark City, which is hilarious to me. Yeah, so all in all, I'm having tons of fun, and you will be able to watch these Crusade games. So we're going to be doing, I think, 10 at least. I did film a game against Matt, so Matthew from Mini Wargaming, and that's going up on Monday. That's a free for all preview. Like on Monday, that goes up against Sisters of Battle. Great, bloodthirsty, bloody game. It was fantastic. Then the Crusade is going to be like 10 episodes. One will go up on the main page, and one will be available for Vault members. However, Mini Wargaming has been amazing, and all Vault videos for that Crusade series will be available for Patreons. So if you want to watch the entire Crusade, you can support Mini Wargaming at the Vault, which is fantastic. You can also support me on Patreon and get access to all that behind the scenes, content for the whole Crusade, which is going to be really, really fun. This is definitely a bunker stream. And of course, Dave has his Shrine of Chaos right now. So I said, I'm sitting in my room. I was like chatting on the Patreon Discord with Calith. And I was like, oh, you know what I could do? I could totally do the Meta Monday right now since I have an hour to kill. So I might as well. So the first thing we do on Meta Monday is we answer Patreon questions. It's the first thing I'm going to do. So Chris J asks, got to be about Drukari today. Absolutely. This whole week has to be about Drukari. And by the way, if you haven't clicked that like button yet, what are you waiting for? I'm literally in the Mini Wargaming bunker. You better click that like button. I'm coming to you live. I brought my computer and everything. Like I packed my entire computer setup just to bring it here so I could make stuff for you. The thumbs up is what I expect back in return. How are you thinking of Reavers and Hellions currently? Unit sizes, number of units, loadouts, and cults. That's a great question, Chris. So to answer your question, so I love the Reaver Jetbikes and I love Hellions. They are both excellent. Now, I love Reaver Jetbikes before, and they're still really, really good in the new Drukari codex, but Hellions really stepped it up. They are like Jetbikes, but cheaper and just a little bit slower. But think of them as infantry Jetbikes, basically. They're extra tough. They have an extra wound, right? And they have just a little bit of a less save, but they benefit from cover a lot easier, right? So right now, the way I'm looking at it is in my original list, I had 2 units of Reaver Jetbikes, like my competitive list. So now I basically switched it up to have 1 unit of Jetbikes and 1 unit of Hellions. This now 10 strong for the Jetbikes or 9 strong for the Jetbikes, because I want 3 Heat Lances in there and 3 Grav Talons, which makes that unit excellent at dealing with Satan, dealing with something like Gazgul or anything that can only take wounds per phase. They also give me access to like a 26-inch threat range starting on turn 2 with the advance and charge, or something that can move up really quickly. However, the Heat Lances on them are excellent. Absolutely excellent. Having the Melter rule at full 18 inches is phenomenal. Like I've never killed a Rhino so quickly in my life with 3 Heat Lances. Literally. 2 hit, 2 wounds. They pretty much instantly go through 2d6 plus 4 damage. Like it was like an instant death to like a transport. And it was fabulous to have access to that. So I like that 9 to 10. As for Hellions, I only own 10, so I've been practicing with 10. However, I can see the value of a 15 to 20 strong unit. As for cults, I love Cult of Strife. Cult of Strife has access to the Book of Rust stratagems and relics. And if you haven't read them already, They are incredible. You do need a separate detachment of Cult of Strife to use the stratagems. So, you kind of have to either run a triple patrol or a real Space Raider detachment with an added detachment that's not an auxiliary detachment to get access to them. But being able to ignore Overwatch, kill a unit in close combat to get a 4+ invulnerable save, it's really, really good. Just imagine a big unit of Hellions or Reaver Jetbikes boosting up the table, killing something in close combat, and then giving themselves a 4+ invulnerable save until your next turn. That makes them incredibly survivable, like against retaliatory firepower, which gives the rest of your army the ability to maneuver and get into position, which is really, really good. So that's a great question, and I hope it answers your question. Liked just for me. Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. Tanya is taking over in 30 minutes. Nice. Yeah, definitely. She will be live in 20 minutes on Twitch. So make sure from this video you go to the War Mistress, the_War Mistress on Twitch, and hang out with her live and like sit and paint and chat and hang out, which is going to be great. Hello, Clown Mode. Was any mention in the Codex fluff for any famous Archon? No, they didn't mention me in the Codex. Why shouldn't I take 2 units of Scourge with Dark Lances, 3 Ravagers Dark Lances, and Raiders with Dark Lances? Why shouldn't you? That's a good question. Neil says, what do you feel is the best loadout for Talos? I'll get to that question. I'll answer your questions as we go. If you want me to, if you put a little super chat in, the question will pop out. It'll be a lot easier for me to read. But the priority is the Patreon questions, of course. Okay. Ivan asks, how would you rate Reapers relative to anti-vehicle options we have in the new Codex? So the Tantalus and the Reaper were really good choices, or were really good choices. The biggest thing is, number one, they don't have the Power from Pain ability, which now all vehicles do. So unless they gain the Power from Pain ability in like an FAQ or an errata, they will always be on like the lower end of the echelon when it comes to choices. Sadly. Why? Because Power from Pain does give the vehicles a great option. Imagine a Tantalus with Power from Pain. Later in the game, being able to act at like double the amount of wounds for bracketing, or advancing and charging for Tantalus, that sort of thing. So hopefully that gets errated. Hopefully. Like, that would be great if it does. Sebastian says, why is Skari in a bunker? I'm at the mini wargaming bunker. We went over this already. Very, very fast. Coldred says, felicidades por el podcast con la voz de Horus. Os quedó brutal. 6 horas. Fueron 6 horas de puro podcast. Estuvo divertidísimo con Bizarre. Me gustó muchísimo. Si son de habla española, vayan a escuchar La Voz de Horus, que fue el episodio más popular desde hace 8 meses. The thought of a Tantalus seeing melee buff Raiders and Venoms gods, that's scary. Yeah, well, it doesn't have chains, but it has quite a few attacks. By the way, yeah, the Raiders and Venoms getting the +3 attacks from the chains makes them very scary in close combat. Like, they'll chip away at stuff, which is really cool. Ivan also asks, what role, if any, do you see Grotesques playing now that they are a bit more fragile? Are they going to be competing for incubi lists? Do they need a transport? I see many people recommending Grotesques with liquefier guns. I'm struggling to get my head around dropping the much better close combat weapon to give a shooting option to a unit that is built for close combat. What are your thoughts? That's a great question about Grotesques, because they are like an iconic meat machine, right, from the homunculus covens. And so they are a bit more fragile. However, they still hit like a freight train. They're a little bit more resilient to small arms fire once they hit that 5+. So 5+ invul with a 5+ feel no pain. On average, you'll ignore more damage than you did when it was a 4+ and a 6+. And it's better against like mortal wounds, which is really good. They still hit really hard, 5 attacks each. They're now 2 damage a pop with their scalpels. So giving them the liquefier gun and changing the cleaver for a liquefier gun, that's a big change. However, if you want to do the Dark Technomancer route, which they kept in the book, it's fantastic. Liquefire guns become an incredible option because they become +1 to wound and 2 damage, and they don't roll to hit, so they can't overheat. So then you can have a unit with like 5 Grotesques with 5 liquefire guns that are 12-inch range now, and that's 5d6, 2 damage minus 2 AP auto hits, right? So there is some value to that, maybe in a raider, to just go and melt your friend's Space Marines. And then if they charge in, they still have, their mortal wounds on 6's close combat weapon. However, like if I'm running Grotesques, I'm probably going to run 5 in a raider potentially, or 5 on foot, and just run them with stock standard stuff and have a homunculus behind them and some Chronos near them, so the homunculus can heal them, and then the Chronos can potentially bring models back to life, right? So that's kind of the concept I'd be going for, but they're more of a distraction. Like you run them at the enemy tries to shoot them, they're going to die eventually, but they should last long enough to help your other units sort of buff themselves up with power from pain, and then advance and charge, or pick enemy units on the flank, or get around behind them and kill them on objectives, that sort of thing. So, but that's a great question, Ivan. But I like the 5 strong, and I'm impartial. I'm a big fan of Dark Creed because of the leadership shenanigans and the Booga Booga Homunculus, which has quickly become my favorite homunculus. The Booga Booga Homunculus. If you haven't watched the Codex review, go watch it. It's awesome. JT from Play on Tabletop and I are just like texting each other Booga Booga emojis like for 3 days straight, which was hilarious. You can also put them into Deep Strike 2 and just flame some people with liquefire guns. Save yourself the 95 points or whatever. But that's a great question. Jason says, just excited for the new book. It's here. I'm excited, finally. I was a bit skeptical on how Games Workshop would treat us. Well, until release, they treated us terribly because they were just teasing us and not giving us any information. So they were torturing us. But then again, we like it because we are Dark Eldar. I'm very glad to admit things are looking excellent at first glance. Maybe Vect will have his turn in 10th, the Eldari edition. Yeah, who knows? It would be cool to get some extra special characters. They did sort of buff like Drazar and make him like a tank. So he's very appealing as a close combat murder character, which I think is really, really cool. And so hopefully, and his stratagem's still in there, but it's like not the same, that sort of thing. But thank you for your question, Jason. James Stout says, what do you see being staples in Dark Kin lists? Okay, so when you're building a Dark Eldar army right now, you are building it in 2 ways. You're either using the Real Space Raider battalion, essentially, or you're using the triple patrols. Now, if you're using the Real Space Raider detachment, you get access to a whole bunch of different bonuses. You can take a whole bunch of masters, and you can kind of mix and match, and it's pretty flexible, very fun, very easy to use. If you're using the triple patrol lists, you gain more command points. You start the game with 14 command points, which is really useful. And because each patrol is worth 0, you still have access to a lot of different rules. You can use the Cult of Strife stratagems very easily, and you save on HQs because you don't have to buy as many if you don't want to. Or you can buy different ones. So personally, competitively, I'm leaning to the triple patrol. However, the Real Space Raider detachment is really iconic, and I love that you can have multiple masters in a Real Space Raider detachment. So you can have all of the crazy, but you're spending a lot of points in HQ, so it's very quick that you run out of points. You run out of points so fast. And don't forget, Dark Eldar is still super fragile. They didn't gain. They gained a little bit of survivability in some cases, but they're still really, really fragile. They will die. So I've been seeing, it's really funny, a little anecdote. I'm in this chat. So John Lennon's in the chat, and Colin from Best in Faction, and JT, and myself, and a whole bunch of other Dark Eldar players. And it's really funny, and I love this, but it's really cool to see the pain that new Archons are going through while learning the Drukari as a seasoned Archon. Because they're like, man, we hit really hard, but we can't take a punch. I'm like, yeah, tell me something I don't know. So I'm just saying, it's very entertaining to watch people struggle. That's what I'm saying. Very, very entertaining to watch people struggle. Why? Because why not? Also, how's my sound? Okay, can you? Is it coming through here? I'm just checking, making sure that is that like you can hear that? Good. Anyway, leave me a comment. If you haven't clicked that like button, there's 90 people watching and only 26 likes. Come on. It's literally right there. The thumbs up thing or dislike. Pick one. Just pick one and click it. Sound is great? Okay, perfect. Thank you very, very much. Last but not least, Eduardo Paredes asks, do you think it will be a competitively viable to build a list around the book secondaries? It appears to me that none of them is an auto take and will be heavily dependent on the list your opponent is running, which I'm perfectly fine about. Yeah, so the Drukari secondary choices, are not auto takes. Not auto takes at all. They are good, but they are not auto takes. And most of them, you have to kill stuff in close combat or be really, really close to the opponent to make the kills. Which means, and there's ones that, it's only witch cult killing, monsters and stuff. And there's another one, which is you kill characters and kill other units. But it's all in close combat. So things like incubi and witches and close combat-y characters, they're very, very important to be able to score those secondaries. Then there's the one that competes with engage on all fronts. But I prefer engage on all fronts. Yes, it's basically like the Necron purge the vermin, kill them out of a table quarter. However, Dark Eldar don't tend to kill things. They kill one or two things dead easily, but not everything in a table quarter. So that can be really risky. So I much prefer just moving into position and getting points instead of having to kill things. So that one I'm never going to take unless it's you're playing an army that likes to castle in a corner, and you're like, fine, castle in a corner. If you don't move out, I'm going to score a bunch of points to force them to play the game differently. And then there's the morale one, which it's actually one of my favorites because I love playing around with morale, and I've had experience and practice, making sure that I make people fail morale to take attrition tests. Right. So, and I love the Dark Creed and the Grizzly Trophy combinations. And then those combinations themselves, make it very easy for armies to fail morale. And Dark Creed, of course, suffer minuses to attrition tests and whatnot. So against certain matchups, like a guard army with 60 guardsmen in 6 different squads, you just have to kill 2 or 3 guardsmen from each squad and make sure they're each within range of a Venom or a Raider, and then just watch half the army run away, and you get your 15 points in a single morale phase, right? But against other armies like Space Marines that are all 5 strong units, that's not really going to happen. So it's cool to have the options. It's nice to see them there, especially if you have a balanced list. However, it's not the be-all, end-all, is what I'm trying to say, which is really, really cool. And I will be getting to your questions in a second, but we do have Discord questions from the Patreons on Discord. So that's everything from the Patreon page directly. And I'm just opening my Discord here. So a couple of questions up here on the chat. Let's see. Which Raiders just going shock prows all the way? Shock prows are pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, they are pretty snazzy. Just doing D3 mortal wounds to a tank or a bunch of mortals to units around them, it's really, really fun. But yes, okay. So Meta Monday analysis questions. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Skari, says Cynical. Make sure to check out the Tables and Towers major. That's it. Tables and Towers happened this weekend. I was there with my Harlequins list, and some Eldar listed very well. One went to top table. Yes, 100%. The Eldar list was but that was old Prophets of Flesh, right? The list that went up there was 80 Prophets of Flesh racks that can recycle, which is not a thing you can do now. However, it was good while it lasted. and then talking about that. But I will be talking about some of the lists of that major. So that's the next thing we'll be talking about today, is that major specifically. Carl says, not really a meta question, but what are your thoughts for Drukari for lower cost games in 750 points or less? I think our army does very, very well at small point values. The codex still forces us to run a minimum of certain units. Is it best to run pure subfactions or 2 and sacrifice CP? Our codex has generally been a struggle in my lower point league games. Not sure if anyone has similar concerns. Just a general question. So that's a great question. Personally, I think Dark Eldar do very, very well in small point games. The biggest thing is you have to use those patrols to get access to your obsessions. So at 750 point games, I'd run like a small patrol of Coven or Cabal or Witch Cult, and then a small patrol of Coven, Cabal, Witch Cult. I'd run 2 of them together. And I'd run 2 HQs, an Archon and a Succubus or something, and I'd run like a Witch unit and a Cabal unit. And I'd just keep it really cheap, a couple of Raiders, and then some mercenaries. Like Mandrakes are really good in small games because they're so versatile. Incubi not bad. And then Hellions, for example, or some other unit like a Ravager or something. So you can really make a list that suits you really well. However, they cost 0 command points for multiple patrols. You get +2 command points. So you actually start with more command points if you take patrols. So take 750 points. You can take 2 detachments, take 2 patrols, get an extra 2 command points, and kind of work your way up from there. And just try and keep it cheap and try and make your units versatile. They can do multiple things. I think that works really, really well. But thank you so much for your question. That is fantastic. Eclipsed asks, for tournament preparation, do you use stock lists, a basic optimized but nothing special sort of list? Something like if you averaged all the top performing lists from an army. My local playgroup has been trying to focus and grow. It's been a thing that has been brought up to have prepared and set aside something like an average White Scar list to test games. We don't want to have people build around beating specific flavor of White Scars, but also worry if it'll make different problems. That's an interesting question. So for tournament preparation, I mainly look at how am I going to score points and how am I going to deal with specific units that are going to be problem units when I'm fighting, right? I think that's a big part of testing for tournaments. Can you kill a Rhino, right? Can you kill a Knight? How are you going to deal with 20 Necron warriors? So they're like list archetypes that you're looking at and going, how can I deal with this part of a list? And you have to sort of stress test your list. So being able to test it against like the random Space Wolf list or the random White Scar list, that's an excellent way of looking at it. However, the key to any tournament like shenanigans preparation is playing a list that you're comfortable with. If you're playing a list and it doesn't feel right and you're not vibing with this list, you might as well play a different list, because your list and you have to connect at like a subconscious level. It not only do you get better results out of it, but you have a lot more fun playing it, and it helps you be more creative in ways to win the game. And it's huge. So when I'm coaching clients, that's something that we really look into early on, is finding your play style, building a list that develops into your play style so that you see better results just because you're more likely to connect with the tactics and strategies that list needs to work well. So just something to keep in mind as well. Hello to all the newcomers. Thank you so much for watching. We've talked about all the Patreon questions. This is an exclusive video that I have unlocked while I'm here in the mini wargaming bunker, which is really cool. If you haven't already, click the like button. If you haven't already, share this video with your friends, especially because we talk about Drukari stuff. And it is the age of the Dark Kin, which is exciting. And or subscribe and click the notification bell if you haven't already. Okay, so on to the next question. Heaven's Teeth says, how many reps for a list do you play before deciding any changes? How many failed minor tweaks before you throw it out and start again? That is a fantastic question. So Heaven's Teeth, I'll tell you this right now. Warhammer 40,000, and this is a little coaching tip, okay? So I hope you're ready for this. Something that I talk about with coaching incubi, coaching clients all the time. So 40K is a game that has an incredible number of variables. I'm going to get a little like technical here, but variables include things like the dice rolls. That's a variable, right? The terrain on the table, the mission you're playing, the composition of your opponent's army, the faction that they're playing, what mood you're in. Did you have breakfast? Did you get enough sleep, right? Did you drop your favorite model on the floor before the game? All of these things are variables that affect the sort of like the game itself before you even start playing or during the game, right? Deployment and how you deploy, that's a variable. So if you know anything about the scientific method or like creating like a theory or experimentation, the way you experiment with something is you have a control group, right? Which you basically don't play around with, you don't touch, you don't, and you kind of like the outcome of what's going to happen with this control group is known, or you can theorize what it does. And then in order to experiment, you take a control group and then you sort of like experiment with a variable and see how it reacts. And then based on that, you can say, okay, so my hypothesis is if it hits this variable, likelihood is it's going to react this way. And that's how you experiment with things in like life. 40K has so many variables that the only thing you can have as a control group or as a constant is your list. Just think about that for a second. The more you keep your list similar over a longer period of time, the more you will learn how that list reacts to different variables. Did that sink in yet? Good. So that means try not to change your list too much. Don't pull a Nick Nanavati and change your list just before Las Vegas Open and take white scars with zero preparation and then get destroyed. Okay, that's a pro tip right there. Now, what you need to do is, so back to your question, how many games do you do before you change your list? Normally, I will build a list or I'll have a concept. And the way I build a list is I'll put my whole collection on a table. I'll usually look at lists that I've used that have done well in the past, and then pick elements that sort of mimic that list, and then sort of like apply it to a new like codex. And then I'll put the new list out and I'll visualize what it looks like, and then I'll playtest it, right? If I think it feels right. And I usually play about 5 to 6 games before I tweak anything. And I tweak things. I don't change things. So tweaking means I might change unit sizes. I might change war gear or relics or warlord trade options. I might change like a dedicated transport, like sub 1 in, sub 1 out. But I don't change big stuff, because normally when I have a concept, I want that concept to work. So I'm trying to find ways to make it work. Every 5 to 6 games, I'll tweak a few things here or there. The key, though, is to read your codex after every game that you play, from back to front again. So play and then read your codex, because what's going to happen is you'll have situations or variables in that game where you read your codex again and you see this like this relic or this stratagem or this warlord trait or this ability on one of your units that would have been very useful in that game you just played. And then you're like, oh my goodness, that would have been amazing to have. You might have not had it in that game, but in the future you go, if it ever comes up again, I know that I can use it. So then you kind of put it in your mental bank, etc. So, which kind of works. So if you can play 5 to 6 games, tweak, then 5 to 6 games, tweak, then 5 to 6 games, tweak. And usually I recommend 20 games before you sort of like decide whether a concept for a list is like you just start from scratch. I call it the 20 game series path to perfection. I've done a couple of, over the years, I've done a couple of series for my Templars and my Dark Eldar and my Tomb Kings, where it was 20 games series. And then tweak every 5 or 6 games. And that gives you a really good list concept, right? Then after 20 games, you can keep on going up to 100, or you can be like, okay, I need to reset and restart. And of course, with Tabletop Simulator, that becomes a lot easier if you do use Tabletop Simulator, or you are lucky enough to have someone in your bubble that you can stress test lists against due to COVID, which is really, really cool. But I hope that answers your question, Heaven's Teeth. Ben says, depends on how competitive you want to go and how the list is performing. Yeah, if it's trash, don't waste time. True. They give you play one game, you just don't like the concept. Yeah, absolutely. Start from scratch again, right? I seem to recall Skari suggesting I get another 5 to 10 reps with the list before tweaking. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. You want to lose some games. You need to lose. Like, you winning every game does not teach you anything. You want to find people who beat you up and then get better to then beat them. That's the key. Okay, perfect. So let's dive into some of these questions. I'll open, and then while I find the tent and thing, and then we'll do I'll touch on a couple of the army lists that were at this tent event, Tent and Mountain or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but it's hilarious. And I also have my BCP upgrade here. Tent. No, it wasn't the tent. What is it called? It literally had it right here. Tables and towers. There you go. Towers. Tower. I know now you're like, why is everything so quiet? Well, because I am quietly waiting to strike. I'm working to more TTS models. Any requests? New hellions. Yeah, hellions, I think, are a big one. Bereaver Jetbikes, hellions, Charles, some of the ones that I've been seeing are fantastic. So that's the big ones. And then, of course, Court of the Archon, and maybe a Trueborn like style model, like a Cavalite Warrior with like a Reaver Jetbike helmet, which people use as Trueborn all the time, which works really well. And a good Kronos model. / Talos / an actual Venom that's an actual Venom, not a Star Weaver turned into a Venom, with it have the real size of a Venom, because and the Raider, real size Raider, because the Raiders were way too big, so I had to like downsize them. Okay, so the Tables and Towers tournament, some placing. So we had, now this is a beautiful thing I love about 9th edition, is 9th edition is by far my favorite edition, and it's so varied when you go to tournaments. Like, it's so varied, and it's fantastic. So you had Sisters of Battle in first place, Cult Mechanicus in second, Eldari in third, Dark Angels in fourth, Space Wolves in fifth, Crazy Eldari with Sean Naden in sixth, so he doesn't count. With a legal list this time. Then we had JD Carter with Mechanicus again, then Chaos, Knights, Iron Hands, more Mechanicus. Apparently Mechanicus is really popular at this event. Blood Angels, Necrons, Eldari. So there's a good mix of stuff out there, which is really, really cool. Nice. You did send me the court models, which is amazing. Thank you, Charles, on Twitter. Oh, I love it. I can't wait, because I'm at the bunker, so I don't have my actual TTS computer with me, but I cannot wait to put those cool models onto TTS and use them. So let's look at the top three. We have, actually, Matt's list doesn't really count anymore because it's not even legal. Just a bunch of racks and lynxes and shadow specters. So that we don't have to touch on that list. However, Mark used a Cult Mechanicus list to come in second place. So let's take a look at his Cult Mechanicum list and kind of go from there, which would be really cool. Leave a comment down below. Like, if you went to a tournament right now, would you what sort of list would you take? Right? And what sort of list would you expect someone to take? Would you play an army that's really meta, or would you just play something that you're really going to enjoy to play that can score secondary points effectively and stuff like that? So a battalion detachment of Styges with a Inquisitor with some psychic powers. Cool. Always having an Inquisitor in there to do mortal wounds in the psychic phase. Really important, especially in an age where Satan are a thing, because Satan are nasty. Tech Priest Dominus Tech Priest Manipulus, so rerolls to hit and extra ranges, which is really cool, with the Prime Hermeticon, which is really neat, and Divination of the Magos, which is also pretty standard AdMech stuff. 3 units of 5 Vanguards. Why not? 45 points for a troop. Excellent. 10 Corpus Skari Electro Priests. 2 units of 8 Fulgrite Priests. So 2 units of Combat Priests, 1 unit of Shooty Priests. Very useful. 2 units of Ballistari with Last Cannons. 2 units of Ballistari with Last Cannons. 2 units of 2 is what I meant to say. So 4 Last Cannon. Excellent. That's pretty standard. I love those. 3 Raiders. 3 Scorpius Disintegrators with out of line of sight cannons, which are still incredibly useful in this edition. A Fusilier Aerocopter, so the bomber airplane, and 3 Scorpius Dune Riders to hide the priests or to hide the OBSEC. This is a very standard, very effective AdMech list. And it's awesome. I love that he's got the counter charge elements in there to charge in and do some damage. I love that he has the shooting for out of line of sight. I love he has the bomber for some like shenanigans, which is really cool. And a couple of troops to doing actions and things like that as well. Plus the Inquisitor. So all in all, it's a great list. He did lose his 3rd round, which was against Matt Laura. And Matt Laura was playing Eldari. So the only game he lost was against the 80 Rax, the Recycle, whatever, which is not even a thing anymore. So, John Becker says, Mark has been running that list for months now. Like you mentioned, just small tweaks go a long way with reps. 100%. And a lot of the times you can see a list and go, well, that list doesn't look like it kills me, but they play it really well. You know, that list has a lot of stubbers, shots, a lot of out of line of sight shooting, decent close combat potential. Those Corpus Skari Electro Priests like shoot like crazy, like the shooty priests. They're fantastic. Then they shoot a lot, right? Especially with the strats they have access to, which is really, really cool as well. So that's really neat. And last but not least, Nick Nanavati playing with a very, very simple, look at this, super simple, like just literally half a page of list for Sisters of Battle. It's a single Bloody Rose battalion with a Canoness with Beneficence and a Null Rod and Righteous Rage, so a little killy Canoness. Another Canoness with the Blessed Blade and the Ardent Blade, so another choppy Canoness. The Triumph, because why not? The Triumph is fantastic. 5 units of 5 Sisters of Battle. Excellent MSU board control. They are really, really useful, and you're normally worried about the Repentia coming to get you, so you're not going to like deal with them until later in the game. 9 Repentia, 8 Repentia, 5 Repentia. So sure. 9 Zephyrim, excellent choice. 1 Preacher to give +1 attack, excellent. 1 Imagifier with the Tail of the Warrior for +1 strength, really good. 2 Crusaders, action monkeys, outflank guys, get like put a banner up or get like deploy scramblers or something. Very cheeky little 32-point scrambler putter downer. 5 Seraphim with 2 hand flamers and 2 Inferno pistols. I guess he wants the options to do both. 5 Retributors with 3 multi-melters and a Simulacrum. The same, although he didn't pay for the Cherubs, which is very weird to me. 3 Mortifiers with an Anchorite, which is excellent. Lots of heavy bolters, backfield, good counter charge unit, Mortifiers to the secret source, and 3 Rhinos to hide stuff in, which is excellent. And that's it. It's a very simple but very good list. And congratulations to Nick for playing with that as well. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the show. If you have a quick question that you'd like to post in the chat, I'll put like 1 minute worth of questions, and then all of us, I'm going to put a link in the chat, and we're all going to go. And if you haven't already, the link will be in the description if you didn't catch this live, to go over to Tanya Gates, the War Mistress's Twitch page, and give her a follow. And you can watch Just Put Paint on It, which would have started pretty much right now, which is really, really cool. How many points is the Retributor unit he took? Says Corn Slaughterer. The Retributor unit he took was 140 points, right? So he's definitely, Yeah, so it gives him some options with while we stand, we fight. So he's making them like a little cheaper than normal, I would assume. 140 points is a Retributor with 2 Cherubs. Well, he has a Simulacrum, 3 Multi-Meltars, 5 Retributors, 3 Multi-Meltars. So just note, I don't think he has Cherubs in there, maybe? He didn't put them in his list here. Always bring my Darkkin to tourney, says Trusty. Correct. Curious about the Chaos Knights. Please get on with the new Codex content. Can't wait to see what you do with it. So, thank you. Yes, new Drukari content is coming your way. Okay, I've been putting a lot of stuff on the Patreon page and the Discord and like Instagram and whatnot. However, I do have a battle report I'm filming against Orcs on Thursday that should be live for Patreons come the weekend or very early next week. And then I'll do a premiere sometime next week with it. As well, on Mini Wargaming on Monday, the game that I played against Matt will be live on Monday there. So if you want to see that battle, you can always check that out as well. What counters the multi-meltars? Are Sisters unbeatable right now? No. It's funny, invulnerable saves tend to counter multi-meltars and negative modifiers to hit if they're not Valorous Heart, which means you can make them hit on 4s. So that's also really good. It's just Retributors will get out, kill something, and then normally die in return. So they need to be able to kill something. So you just have to have a plan to counter after they attack you and then counter back with something. So that's something that I would keep in mind as well. Question. What are you most excited to use out of the new Dark Eldar book? Well, I own every single model. I'm excited to make my new Succubus with the Dark Lotus Toxin and the double and the Razor Flails. So I at home in my bits box, I have the Razor Flails, all my Razor Flail bits. So I'm going to make sure I put Razor Flails on all my witches because I want to make sure they can take Razor Flails. And then one on a Succubus with Dark Lotus Toxin and Precision Blows. So she goes in with 14 to 16 attacks, depending on what she rolls for combat drugs. And if I use Hyperstim Backlash, like 12 to 16 attacks, right? That are AP 1 with Blade Artists, and then Strength 4 base with 2 damage, and on 6s a hit, they just do mortal wounds. She's gonna just run in and murder some stuff. That's the thing I'm most excited to play. Why not competitive edge? Because with the Razor Flails, in the FAQ, the extra attacks that she rolls to hit don't actually count as extra attacks. It's kind of weird that way, so you can't actually use competitive edge to get like up to 40 some attacks. That's not how it works. I just much prefer the ability to do mortal wounds and just have a bunch of dice to roll at something. And then if she's the Master Succubus, she can bounce in, attack, and then just consolidate away into stuff. And I think just being able to do that multiple times in a turn is going to be absolutely excellent. How do you feel about Triptych Wick versus Lotus Razor Flail? Honestly, take both of them. You can take one with Dark Lotus, Razor Flails, Precision, and then you can take one with Exploding Sixes and the Triptych Whip. So you have 2 blender cannon, 2 little succubuses, blender succubuses that are really, really cheap. One's 75 points, one's 60 points, and they literally just go around just murdering stuff. So that's really, really fun. Matthew says, oh, I see why now. Yeah. It was FAQ'd, I'm pretty sure, like when extra attacks count as hits, but they don't count as actual attacks. They're just extra rolls to hit, so not actually attacks. So this is like cool little dichotomy there where it doesn't quite line up to be able to do it. However, it would be really cool too as well. Okay, so the War Mistress. She is live right now. Okay, so this is going to be the end of the stream today, folks. So make sure you head on over to the War Mistress. Boom, it's in chat right now or down in the comments below. Give her a follow. I want to see 136 people that are watching me right now. Head on over to the War Mistress and literally click follow. I've been Skari, your grateful host. This has been a fantastic little stream. Meta Monday on a Wednesday analysis, normally exclusive for Patreons, but I decided to include all of you today. If you'd like to support the channel, the Patreon link is in the description, as well as all the sponsors to the channel. Thank you so much to the Hooded Goblin and everybody who supports. Huge shout out to Mini Wargaming for letting me stay at the bunker while we're filming this entire week. It's really exciting, really fun. Check out the Tanya War Mistress for Just Put Paint on It. If you need anything at all, reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or the Patreon Discord as well. But as always, I've been Skari, your grateful host, and I'll see you on the flip side. Skari out. Ah, the dark kin time has come. Bye, everybody. Links. Look at the links. Links.